Honestly, what these white people cannot do does not exist. What these people can literally not do does not exist. When I tell you that these people, some of them have the spirit of colonizers even up till date, just accept it and believe it like that. Because let it make sense to me that you went to another man's country and you decided illegally to create what you want to create as your own business, and you not have the audacity to say the citizens of this country will literally not participate. I don't know if you guys have literally seen this video, but I'm so happy what these two white men literally got. They did not only get banned, they got kicked out, and they told them you can never visit this country again till eternity. Let's go watch the Fafo moment. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. Liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also join my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's go watch. I'll be back with commentaries.
This running club in Bali has become one of Indonesia's biggest controversies, and now its founders have been banned from the country. The club, called Entourage Bali, was started by two Dutch nationals and was originally meant to help expats and digital nomads meet new people through weekly runs. But things took a turn after Indonesians claimed they were being excluded from joining, and screenshots shared online appeared to show that applications using Indonesian phone numbers were being either ignored or delayed, while foreign applicants were getting approved much faster. The organizers have apologized and said it wasn't intentional, and they claimed it was caused by an error in their automated WhatsApp approval system and insisted that locals had always been welcome. But by then, the controversy had already caught the attention of Indonesian immigration authorities. Now, after investigating, officials found that the two organizers had been running community events that were not allowed under the type of visa that they were holding. Both have now been placed on Indonesia's entry ban list, meaning they can no longer return to the country. The running club has since suspended all of its events, and while the incident has sparked a much bigger conversation in Indonesia about digital nomads, gentrification, and whether foreigners living in Bali are respecting local communities and the country's laws. If you want to know more about the issue, go to www.says.
Let's not use initials. Come on now. Right, so these are them. These are the motherfuckers. And those are their names. I'm not even going to bother to pronounce it. Like, whatever. It's not enough that their ancestors looted and pillaged our country and stripped our natural resources to build their godforsaken drowning country. They basically just went ahead and repeat the same level of discrimination some 300 years later. Because in their racist, bigoted colonial minds, digital nomad and Indonesian are mutually exclusive. They cannot comprehend the fact that an Indonesian with Indonesian government issued ID can also be a digital nomad. This whole thing happened partly because of the locals as well. We are at fault here. Let me explain. Us Indonesians, we're too welcoming, we're too nice, we're too kind. We don't ask questions. And a lot of the times, we look up to these people. We tend to think of them as somewhat being superior just because they're white. I feel like collectively as Indonesians, we need to stand our ground. We need to have some sort of standards, you know? Like, you bitches listen to them talking about like, aku cinta nasi goreng, and then you're Vietnamese. Come on, please. Let's raise our standards, okay? Don't let them disrespect you like that. And also, the corrupt officials are also at fault here. Because these motherfuckers know that it only takes a little bit of money, just a little bit of money to bribe our officials. And they can do whatever they want and get away with pretty much anything and go unscathed. And those people who participated in the run, participated in the club, y'all are also the problem. Y'all are problematic. At the very least, you are an enabler. So those two bitches are basically banned from entering Indonesia. Last time I read, they fled to Singapore. So let this be a warning for my Southeast Asian siblings. Don't let them pull the same stunt in your country. They initially tried to do it in South Africa, and then they did it in Bali. So I don't know.
A run club in Bali has had its founder kicked out of the country because they decided not to invite people from actual Indonesia into their events. Now, this is one of the founders here, and this is the run club in question. It was originally set up for digital nomads, which kind of makes sense. If you're a digital nomad in Bali, you want to get to know people, come to our run club, and it's a really good way of doing that. But the problem is that when local people tried to get in touch, they were like, I want to come too, they basically were cancelling their tickets and saying, no, you can't come. The problem is that when they tried to apologize afterwards, it was clearly in reflection because they weren't clear, they weren't respectful when they were cancelling bookings, they were just cancelling them. And if you were really doing this because you wanted to keep to the integrity of the event, then what would be really obvious is that you would be like, excuse me, as to our terms and conditions, this is what it is, this is why it's important, please do come to another event. But that wasn't the case. They were just saying no and cancelling, or saying it's not for you and cancelling. The screen grabs of some of the conversations that they were having were clear that this is a bunch of out-of-towners exploiting a country, trying to create an experience, an event, and a community in a country without inviting the locals. Could you imagine in England or the United States where I'll be like, oh, I'm hosting a club, but you're like, you can't come? That would never happen.
What is going on in the world? What do you mean Dutch people came to Bali for a running club and excluded locals? How you gonna bring your whole entire life into someone's country and exclude the people in the country? Yeah, and take your Dutch ass back to your country, because what do you mean? That is so disrespectful. Oh my goodness. Like, who raised y'all? And I know I'm in Indonesia's business, but I'm gonna just be here just for a little bit because I got something to say. I don't know who raised y'all. Don't do this. And I'm happy that they can't come back to Indonesia. Good. I hope they get prosecuted in some type of way, because what do you mean? Why are y'all go do this in your country? Go do this in your country. Can you do this in your country? Go do this in your country. Don't do this in somebody else's country. Y'all acting like, who raised y'all? That's gonna be my new hashtag. Who raised y'all?
You guys might have seen there was a run club in Canggu in Bali, which is coming under criticism, being shut down for not allowing Balinese locals into the run club. And people will say, it's a club, they can let whoever they want. But people don't understand over there, European generally can be very dismissive, arrogant, disrespectful towards the local Balinese in comparison to Australians, who are generally very friendly, inclusive, look after the locals, spread their money around, treat them nicely. These guys are shutting down roads and things like that and stopping the locals from getting to work. I'm pretty happy that they're standing up for themselves and saying, hey, you guys are in our country. You can't just be fucking starting run clubs and then saying that we can't be in it, we're not good enough.
The racist, obnoxious people are blocking the road who think they're the center of the universe.
Many of you reached out to hear my thoughts on the fun-run silent disco in Bali that rejected the application of local Balinese. So you probably know that the two Dutch organizers are now banned from entering Indonesia, which is a good thing. But what I want to know is, what about the thousands of racist participants? How do I know they're racist, you may ask? Well, why would you go to a country for comfort, not survival, and seek out activities where everybody else is an expat? Expat, like you. That means that your notion of fun and comfort is to be on somebody else's land without having to deal with the people whose land you're on. And even if the participants didn't actively seek out other foreigners, the second they arrived there, they should have noticed that something was missing and walked away. The fact that they didn't reveals that every single one of those people is a colonizer in Bali. The other day I shared in my story a poster advertising a party in Thailand, but the poster was in Streatham Common, South London. This is a party for British people in Thailand, talking about a Thailand takeover. So of course I had something to say about it. And people in my DMs were going mad. Oh, just because I go to a party abroad with other people of my country, that doesn't mean I'm a racist. Yes, it does. If you're comfortable behaving like a colonizer abroad, that makes you a racist. Because there's no such thing as a non-racist colonizer. You do realize that, right?
So I don't actually have a problem with the term digital nomads. But what does bother me is when somebody moves to a country because it's more affordable, makes it their home, and doesn't do anything about learning the language, the culture, or integrating with the community. I was just in Bali and I met this guy who has been living there for 8 years and he still needed Google Translate to order nasi goreng. It's a bit of a hot take. I feel that this applies to Singapore as well. I've seen fitness clubs, run clubs, and expat communities, people who have lived here for almost 10 years and haven't made any efforts to integrate the community or make local friends. If you do move to a different country and make it your home, don't just see how you can benefit from a place. Be part of it.
Bali's finally deporting influencers. Something I filmed last time I was there. She's filming herself in a sacred temple by the beach while the locals are praying. This week, a running club has been found to discriminate against Indonesians by not allowing them access to their running event. Needless to say, it's time to deport these weasels. 62 people have been detained in 3 weeks. Fines up to 500 million rupiah, which is 30k. Digital nomads are melting down, being like, oh, where is the line? The line is you've been extracting off the island for free and calling it a lifestyle. Let's stop right there. The image of the paradise was colonial BS. After the Dutch weasels finished conquering Bali, they had a PR problem because they just finished unaliving the royal family. Over 1,000 peeps in one afternoon. They hired artists and ad men to rebrand the place. Paradise on earth, peaceful smiling villager. That campaign never stopped running. Every "this place healed me" reel is the same ad. So this isn't a crackdown. It's the island charging rent on a paradise built on its own dead.
Those Dutch guys who got banned from Indonesia fucking deserved it. What do you mean you're gonna host a silent disco run club on Bali for digital nomads and you're going to exclude anyone who signs up who is Indonesian or has an Indonesian phone number automatically? You gotta have fucking balls of steel to think, I'm going to host a event in a country that I am not a national of, and I'm also going to exclude anyone who is of the nationality of the country that I am staying in as a guest. And then we have the other W, which is basically tightening up rules around content production for profit by influencers in Indonesia. Because you have people going to Bali with their 30-day visa on arrival and then making a shit ton of money off content that they create there, of which the Indonesian government doesn't even see a single cent. Yes, I know the Indonesian government is very corrupt. I want to believe at least some of the taxes go to public works. This is a huge win for Bali. Keep my more radical ideas surrounding the topic of gentrification and influencers in Bali to myself. Anyway, if you are a tourist in Indonesia, actually eat local food, support local businesses, tip people well, and don't act entitled.
2 Dutch expats have just been deported from Bali. So as an expat myself, let's discuss. Now, first, I want to change the label that we're using in this video. We are not expats, okay? We are immigrants. It's a social label. So expat implies glamorous, temporary, whilst immigrant implies the opposite. But the actual actions are exactly the same. A run club in Canggu, Bali has sparked backlash after screenshots showing Indonesian applicants being excluded from those run clubs based on where they're from. To come to another person's country and then exclude the locals from your business is absolutely abysmal. You could call this neo-colonialism. And the worst part is that the Dutch actually colonized Indonesia at one point, and then it's another 2 Dutch people that are committing this act. This is not new. Gentrification of Asian cities and islands is actually very prevalent. Immigrants and digital nomads move into these areas, and then lots of Western coffee shops and restaurants pop up in the area. They start serving flat whites instead of, say, the local coffee. And it hikes up the prices of everything, including the rent as well. It causes displacement for the working class locals. Say the governments are making a lot of money for the economy. So it's not all bad for the country. It's the lowest groups that suffer the most. I think there's a lot of people that come here that don't have any respect for the local communities. They see it as just a cheap place. They have this kind of white privilege that gives them power in this country, and they don't acknowledge that. They often date the local women here, and there is a complete power imbalance. I have met white expats that literally hate Vietnam. But they married a Vietnamese wife, and they hate their wife, and they hate Vietnam. They hate their job. I think these countries attract a lot of lost people, not all. They just kind of see it as their playground. They can just do whatever the fuck they want, and they don't respect the local communities. Say they open businesses here, they charge Western prices, but then they still pay the minimum wage. Like I said, this is not everyone. However, if you come here, you don't like it here, chat shit about it all the time, then you shouldn't be here, Mahan. Go back home. I think if you are an immigrant that lives in Asia from a Western country, I think you need to be mindful of how you act here. You should be respecting and including the locals as the bare minimum.
These two Dutch guys who got banned from Bali for creating a run club that excluded the locals. And that's pretty crazy, right? Can you imagine being a Dutch guy, landing in Indonesia, and the first thing you think about is, let's colonize this place. Like, at which point in history has this ever happened? That's crazy, right? And the biggest question I have was, how did they filter the foreigners from the locals, right? Were they just like, do you have the Bali belly? Oh, you do? Perfect. Well, you already got the runs. Welcome to the club.
This is going to upset some people, but the number one thing I dislike about Bali is the type of tourist it attracts. I seriously don't understand why some people come all the way to Bali and treat it as their personal playground that they can mold into whatever they want. You're in a beautiful island surrounded by beautiful people and a beautiful culture. And instead of experiencing all of that, you decide to run an event that excludes locals from it. The Entourage running group is currently under fire for running a silent disco event and excluding locals from joining it. They had this excuse that the event was for digital nomads, so locals weren't invited. But imagine you go to someone's house as a guest, because yes, as a tourist, you are a guest in someone's country, and you decide to run an event and you tell the owner of the house, no, sorry, you have to leave the house because you're not actually invited to this event, even though we're hosting it at your house. Like, are you serious? And as a digital nomad myself, I'm sorry, but one of the main reasons I travel is not to stay in some digital nomad bubble and only meet other nomads. I travel to experience other cultures, learn from them, grow from them, and to meet friends with locals. It's funny because when my husband and I first came to Bali a couple of months ago, we joined a couple of Entourage events because we wanted to make friends. And in those events, the first thing I noticed as an Asian woman was that I was one of like 2 Asian people in those events. And this is an event that's run in Asia. The fact that I'm a minority made me feel pretty uncomfortable. Also the fact that there were 0 Indonesians. So we stopped going. And I remember at some point, I was still a part of these WhatsApp groups. There was a Dutch party and it felt so exclusive to the point that people were asking like, are we invited even though we aren't Dutch? And this is a Dutch party in Indonesia, a country that the Netherlands colonized for more than 300 years. Like, doesn't that sound tone deaf to you? What is this, colonialism 2.0? Anyway, the point of all this, guys, is that as tourists, we should be coming to Bali with respect for the island and its people and its culture, just like you would as a guest in someone's home. And to those foreigners that are staying in Bali longer term, you have an even bigger responsibility to respect the culture and the people that were here long before you decided that Bali is your utopia. Because if you come all the way to Bali just to recreate the same bubble that you were living in your home country, I'm sorry, but, and this might be harsh, but travel is not for you. Just stay home.
These are the leaked messages that just got 2 Dutch tourists officially banned from returning to Indonesia. Look closely. When an Indonesian resident applied to join a local run club, they were bluntly rejected and told the group was for digital nomads. But when a foreigner applied, instantly approved with a party emoji. The organisers behind Entourage Bali went viral for their massive 5:30 AM silent disco runs. But behind all those viral videos, locals allege Indonesian residents were being quietly blocked from joining the events held on public Balinese roads. The leaked screenshots sparked massive outrage. The club issued an apology saying they never meant to discriminate and blaming an automated system bias for the rejections. But Indonesian immigration wasn't buying it. Facing an immediate crackdown, the two founders left the country and headed to Singapore. Now authorities have permanently banned them from re-entering the country and all their events have been put on hold. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and head to news.com.au for the full story.
Two Dutch citizens were just banned from Indonesia for creating an illegal run club that discriminated locals. So the run club Entourage advertises itself as a place for digital nomads to find community. They organized this silent disco run club event in Bali. The creators, number one, did not get the appropriate permits to run that event. And several screenshots were shown of applicants of different nationalities getting either accepted or rejected. Foreign nationals, not Indonesians, were getting immediately accepted, and Indonesians were getting either ghosted or immediately rejected. Because, quote-unquote, it's for digital nomads. When are we going to call this what it is? Occupation. You're occupying a foreign country, hosting events for only foreigners. Don't pretend like this is building community, while rejecting the very community you occupy. I'm glad these guys were banned. They're also saying that the automated ticketing system was causing the rejections and it wasn't them being discriminatory. Okay. Why would nationality ever impact whether you can participate in a run club or not to begin with?
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys literally enjoyed every single clip I was able to roll out for you guys. So it's quite amazing, honestly. It's really, really amazing. And one thing that these people call colonizers does is they always want to colonize. They always want to take once they get to any single place. Because if not that, how is it even possible that you have the rights? You didn't even think of the repercussion. Maybe they think this is one of the African countries that they can just go act anyhow, go back to their country, or just go start business with a black woman's name, just explore, nobody's asking them questions, and then go. Maybe they think this is that particular time where they are right now. Later they did know that these Indonesians are not joking. They told them, we don't have an issue that you're not including our people. We don't have an issue that this business is illegal, but we have an issue that you are even staying in this country, so you have to go. It's as simple as that. You have to look for another alternative. You have to look for another country where you can literally do this. I can tell you for a whole fact, there is no black person that will do this kind of thing and say, oh, they are excluding black people. And this was exactly what literally happened in Nigeria when Nigerian people erupted with rage, anger, and so on and so forth. Where you have these Chinese, this time around it's coming from the Asian angle, where you have these Chinese restaurants, not Chinese restaurants, this Chinese shopping mall, very big, massive shopping mall in our capital for that matter, established a shopping mall and has the audacity to say Nigerians are not supposed to come there. So if you're coming there as a Nigeria, the security will literally block you from the gates and said, no, you're not permitted to come shop here. This place is strictly for Chinese, strictly for immigrants, and for immigrants. Not for citizens. And the moment one Nigerian man actually went there and he saw that he was restricted from the gate, started making video, and Nigerians got angry, they got furious, and at the end of the day they found out that that particular mall was owned by a Chinese person. It's not only owned by a Chinese person, people working there are black people, like citizens are the one working there, but the same citizens they are going to be using against other citizens not coming inside. So now the pattern is this: you're now going to see that they have portrayed the citizens in front of you to tell you that you are not going to join, you are not included, you cannot come in. Then why deep inside they are running racism acts inside? They want only their own people to shop there. Do you get? So is that crazy? I don't know why you have to go to someone's country and you want to do anything and then exclude them. You want to do anything and then you say they cannot participate. Just imagine just a run gym or a run whatsoever or a run club that at the end of the day I would have been more successful, because why, the indigenes of the country would have made it more popular. They would have said something good that will make other people even long to come to Indonesia just because they want to join this run club. But you use your hand because of your greed, because of your selfishness, because of the fact that you want to always prove that you are a colonizer. You want to always prove that you can take anything that is not your own, and then you decided that citizens are not joining. And Indonesia literally kicked them out. They did not only kick them out, like I said, they are banned. They don't have any rights anymore to come to Indonesia. So it's better for them to go back to their country and establish a run club in their country, and then say it that their citizens are not permitted to join the run club. Let's see who is actually going to join the run club. I keep saying it. Anything you know that you cannot, someone should not do to you, don't do to that person. It's as simple as ABCD. But still, racism is something that you can just pipe low on it. They will just keep being racist as far as they are concerned. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also join my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. Yes, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be Simba, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.